Let's ride. All right, so I'm standing here trying to block the wind, but this is going to be my first vlog. When I was thinking about what I should be talking about, I thought about a couple of things. First one is, why am I doing a vlog? And the second thing is that I'm thinking I'll share a little testimony with you on something that affected my life for quite a number of years. I guess that the first thing I want to talk about is why vlog. And I can think of two reasons, right? The first one is obviously, eventually, I want to, every man leaves a legacy behind. And my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren are probably going to see these vlogs, and I want them to know who I am, because a generation that follows me starts with me, and I just want my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, whatever, to know who I am, and what I stand for. And I think that's primarily the reason why, but then the other reason why is because there's so many voices out there, all with different intentions. I mean, my intention is that I wish that all of us as human beings can respect and appreciate one another and just not be jerks to one another, But I just want to be a good voice out there. There's so many different voices out there with so many different intentions. I just want to be one of those good voices, like John the Baptist, right? A voice in the wilderness. And that's basically it. Let me share with you a little testimony just so that you can start to get to know me a little bit. I married young, back before I knew Christ. I was living with my girlfriend, and she got pregnant at the time. And, when she got pregnant, obviously that was not a good thing, at least to her. I wanted my son to come into a family unit, so I decided that the best thing to do would be to get married, because I wanted my son to come into this world in a family, not in a kind of like weird, dysfunctional type of environment, right? So anyway, long story short, obviously those things didn't work out. It only lasted about 2 years, and it was definitely a really bad divorce. It was not amicable whatsoever. I mean, there was nothing like domestic violence or anything like that. But, some hurtful things were said. She said some things that were really bad, and obviously I said some things that were that I wish I could take back. But regardless, sometime after the divorce, I came to know Christ, and I remember, I think it was maybe about a year or two after the divorce, I was working for a computer company, and now they sent me to an elementary school to set up some computers for this school. And I remember being in a kindergarten classroom, and I'm looking around and I'm looking at all of the artwork that the children make, and You know, obviously some of them have their parents, you know, they draw their parents or whatever. I remember really missing my son at that moment. Now, I remember also praying to God. I don't remember what exactly I prayed. I bet you he does. But I remember praying to God something along the lines of, you know, Lord, I really miss my son, and my heart is broken right now, and, um, you know, I'm trusting you to make this right. All right, sorry about that. I had to move because the trucks that were cleaning the sand was getting a little too loud. Anyway, back to the prayer at the school. I don't remember necessarily hearing anything from God or anything like that. What I did feel was this overwhelming feeling that, you know, he heard me, you know. But anyway, if we fast forward about, I don't know, 20 years later or something like that, you know, when my son graduated high school, he told his mother that he wanted to move in with Dad. So he's been living with me ever since he graduated high school, which is really a victory, you know, because I went through a lot of crap during those years while he was in school and living with his mother, because, you know, I do feel that his mother used my son a lot of times against me, and many of you will understand what that means. So he's been living with me ever since. You know, I've been working for a charter school management organization for a number of years at that point, and an intern position popped up at my organization. And, you know, I spoke to my son, he applied, and he was able to get the job as an intern. That position led to something else, whereby he was working as a digital learning IT guy. I think they call it a digital learning resident. And he was working at one of the schools that my organization helps to manage and support. You know, it's been a number of years. He's actually still working in my organization. He's still working closely with me. And do you see the irony here? You know, it's like, you know, yeah, somebody can argue that, you know, God doesn't answer prayer. But I don't necessarily feel that in this particular situation. When I prayed in that classroom and I told them that I missed my son and that, you know, I was heartbroken, I was feeling really sad and stuff. When I sat there and I spoke to God about that, he could have answered my prayer, and maybe, I don't know, I would have received a phone call from my son. Hey, Dad, I love you, I miss you. Or maybe, you know, something would have happened where, like, my ex-wife would have called me up and said, hey, something came up. Can you watch our son for, you know, for a few hours or whatever? He could have answered something like that. And I was having this conversation one time with my sister. She said something that resonated with me and that has pretty much kind of stuck with me for a long time. And we were talking about prayer and, you know, answered prayer, unanswered prayer, and things like that. And she said something really interesting. She said, sometimes God doesn't answer a prayer because he's waiting to answer the bigger prayer. Now, let me tell you something. As opposed to, like, that time when I was in that classroom, I could have had my son maybe for a few hours or a day or something like that. He could have answered my prayer that way. But I feel that 20-somewhat years later, he answered a bigger prayer. And now I've got my son working with me. You know, I see him on a daily basis. And if I can be totally transparent and honest with you about this, you know, it was well worth the wait. You know, in retrospect, it was worth the wait. But sometimes it's like I feel God kind of like holds out on telling you exactly what's going to happen because he's going to surprise you with something different. He is going to just impress you with his goodness and the way that he listens. He listens to you, even to a dad who just finished, you know, getting divorced, is still trying to figure out this whole Christianity thing because I still wasn't living like a true believer, you know. But you know, that's what I wanted to share with you, because I've met so many people who are stuck in that situation where they're in the middle of the divorce, and it's really tough, and there's a lot of crap going around in terms of like, hostility, emotions start to flare out here and there. And let me tell you something, I know exactly what that feels like. There was a lot of hate. There was a lot of, I think, injustice. There was a lot of times where I reacted the wrong way. I reacted because of my emotions. You know, I was angry, I was, whatever. And, now, when you look back at that sort of stuff, you could see how that kind of like, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot when you go by your emotions and go by your anger. Listen, let me tell you something. Whatever you do, just try to keep in mind this, that if you believe in God and that if God is real to you, then that means that He sees everything that's happening under the sun, and God is a God of justice, and He will make things right. And He's not going to make things right at your time, but it's going to be well worth the wait. Just remember that, because I just don't want anybody to dishonor themselves because of an emotional reaction, because they just kind of like just lost it. Or whatever. Keep in mind that God is watching all of this stuff. Do not dishonor yourself by, jumping to conclusions or just having a quick reaction to your emotions. Don't dishonor yourself. In the process of you dishonoring yourself, you're going to dishonor God. Despite the fact that you think He's not listening, despite the fact that you think He's not answering your prayer, I think that the takeaway from this is that perhaps maybe He's just waiting to answer a bigger prayer in your life. So, that's a quick little testimony. I mean, I did suffer for a good number of years, man. I can't even tell you how long it was. A lot of stuff happened, man. But God made it all right. You just got to hold on, man. You just got to hold on. And don't get stupid and just flip on a switch, I mean, you're only going to be doing yourself a disservice. Anyway, that's it for today, man. God bless you, and I guess I'll see you at the next video.